Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Swire. You can also call me the promo guy. Today, my guest is Tammy Alverson from Result Marketing. She's a digital marketing expert. Some of the things that is good about Tammy is she was able to take a solar roofing company from zero revenue into 100 million a year, and he also increased a auto repair shop revenue 5 times in 1 year. So I'm sure I have a lot of questions. I'll be taking notes. But with that, welcome to the show, Tammy.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it, Swire.
So first question is how does it take to become 0 to 100 million? Like what have they done right to be able to achieve those success?
Yeah, it was a 10-year plan. So it took us 10 years to get there from basically zero. And what we did was we created what we call a step-up plan. And we would for each month that after the initial couple months of getting everything set up and all that, then each month thereafter, for every single time that they had leads come in and sold jobs off of those leads, the owner would take a certain percentage away to reinvest and
Mhm.
reinvest and reinvest. And he would keep increasing, increasing, increasing to the point where we got to a point where we could do TV, radio, billboards, you name it. And so we were able to create a lot of platforms for him to use, but it all started with his website and a simple pay-per-click and SEO campaign.
Okay, so let's talk about that, digging deeper. You said that it all started with a website. So are you recommending that, small businesses out there, before they spend any marketing, they need to prepare their website, optimize it first before they start doing any digital marketing campaign?
No, not at all. Typically, we will recommend when somebody comes to me, especially somebody in a competitive field like roofing or um, personal injury attorney law. Right now, bankruptcy attorneys are uh, doing well. And then, of course, water damage restoration for all the people that are flooding in areas that they're not used to having snow. Um, so it's really important when you get a new client that you want to show them results. You want to show be able to start that revenue stream coming in right away, and by doing a lot of times, most of the time, we'll just start with pay per click on both Google and Bing. Um, and then while we get that campaign going, optimized, machine learning's kind of going through its thing, we'll also start doing their SEO. And most of the time, just doing simple citations and directories, starting there, and then going through and optimizing if they have an existing website that we can optimize, or building a new site or whatever it is. Many times we've had people with no website or terrible website, and we just felt it was better to create a landing page for them
Mhm.
for us to
Instead of
optimize.
touching the whole thing.
Yeah, so honestly, we recommend, if you can afford it, do both, because you'll get that revenue coming in typically within 45 days. You'll be doing pretty good.
Really. But then asking in terms of how, normally a small business will ask, how much is this going to cost, right?
Mhm.
So, they might not have the budget, and obviously they want to do this to increase their revenues. But I know that you have you mentioned a study, and then actually a formula that people can allocate those budget in marketing.
Mhm. Yeah, so the Small Business Administration recommends, it's a huge, huge variable. And so, most people, for some reason, I find most people have 6% in their head for, okay, I need to allocate 6% a year towards marketing.
From their revenue or like their net earning?
There's a lot of argument with that. We personally go with gross.
Okay.
So, and depending on where you're at in your cycle and where you're at with your growth, if you want very aggressive growth, The guy that got to 100 million a year, he was doing almost 20%,
Wow. Okay.
which is huge, huge amount of money. But then now he is, I just saw him post that he bought yet another brand new car, sports car, on Facebook.
Hmm.
Posted it. Bought a even bigger house than his last bigger house, which was almost 10,000 square feet. So he's doing very well. But very few people can do this successfully without somebody whispering in your ear every single week. Um, and really, you got to be a strong person to work with, a strong marketer to work with somebody and say, look, you got to stick to this or we're never going to hit these revenue goals. um, but for most people are pretty happy when we spend about, and again, it just depends on them and
Hmm.
their industry, but typically somewhere between the 10 and 12% range. If they allocate that for marketing, and they are in uh, pretty aggressive growth mode, but they want controlled growth, and that's the key, isn't it? Getting controlled growth. Um, then typically those are the numbers that we like to suggest to people. Now we've had people that literally started with nothing and said, okay, so I can spend $1,500 this month. What will that get me? And we do our best to accommodate those people. And then we just say, well, you've got to reinvest again. And again, for us, it's 45 to 60 days of onboarding somebody and getting those results going for even pay per click to get that campaign well, optimized well enough so that they can compete in the marketplace and learning from that data. So a lot of times, if we just stay on them and say, okay, we've got to have that increase every single month, or we are not going to get you anywhere near your revenue goals. So I have some people that will start with very small budgets and they'll double it every single month. Other people that they'll just do a percentage. So we really try to customize our growth programs for people. Back when it was popular to say you were a growth hacker, that was something I was very much into because growth hacking isn't just digital, it's what else can you do to build your personal brand along with your corporate brand for little or no dollars. So,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah, I'll definitely get into that later. So, if I'm understanding correctly, so it's okay to start small. Maybe you only focus on a certain element, but then if you are putting back what you have earned from those campaign into it, then slowly and surely, then you could have more tools available. Maybe you could, be on different channels. Like the roofing company that you're helping.
mhm,
Slowly and slowly they're reinvesting, then they're able to grow their marketing campaign to get bigger.
mhm. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But sometimes it's hard, right? As a small business owner, you only have a certain dollar available. Maybe it's really thin or small. Uh, what is the one thing, or it depends on the industry, that you recommend to start? You mentioned pay per click. Are there any other things you recommend that is popular right now?
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's a ton of stuff. We just seem to get the best and quickest results doing pay-per-click display ads, and typically for somebody new or somebody that hasn't done much advertising, we can't start a retargeting campaign until they have enough traffic. Um, so YouTube, people, it always amazes me how many people don't realize that Google owns YouTube and that it's the second largest search engine in the world.
Mhm.
Um, YouTube can be a fabulous outlet for getting almost instant rank, as well as um, for advertising. It can be very affordable if it's done right, just with maybe perhaps doing pre rolls or overlay ads. Uh, if they're more consumer product orientated, where they've got kind of a sexier product. So for that auto shop that I mentioned, oh my gosh, we ended up doing so much social media for them. And um, we we put what we call the ricers against the muscle car people.
Okay.
At first,
I know
at
that
first,
analogy.
yeah, the ricers are like those. They drive those, you know, souped up.
The Japanese car with the body kit and things
Yes,
like
yes,
that.
yes, exactly. Like in, I'm trying to think, Fast and Furious or whatever.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So we would pit the muscle car people against the ricers, and it got so much engagement and so many shares, and just organically. So then, of course, we'd take some and do a boost. Some we would turn into ads, and the conversion rate. I don't think I've had anybody yet, with the exception of a paint and sip studio we're working with, outdo. They're on their way to outdoing this auto shop, but we made it fun. We did
Hmm.
questions. We got people to argue because, in the social media world, what counts is shares and engagement.
Hmm.
If you can get past that like button and get a happy face and one of those emoticons instead of just the like button, that can help. But if you're getting a lot of comments or shares, then social media actually can help you, not only your social authority, but your entire online authority, especially where SEO is concerned, because all of a sudden you're making a lot of noise, and you go from having 500 followers to 5,000 in record time, and it is just amazing what social media can do for people when done right. So there's those platforms. We even, for certain clients, will recommend direct mail, but we will personalize
Yes,
it.
making a comeback actually.
Hmm. So we do like billboards. It doesn't matter what they do. I've got a roofer I work with out of Chicago, and he must have, I don't know, going on 50 call tracking numbers, because he tracks every single print ad, every TV ad,
Wow.
every billboard, every lawn sign, every door hanger. It doesn't matter what he does. He's even his truck wraps, the wraps on their cars.
Hmm.
Um, they assign. He wants to know how much ROI, how many people are calling in. And then for billboard advertising, it can be fantastic to track, because then you can see what locations are actually bringing in some dollars.
Hmm.
Is it 100% accurate? Never, not with print. Because a lot of times now people just take a picture of a billboard or a sign, and if they call the number, great. But if they go to your website, then it may come in as a direct, or however they found you, it may not be initially the billboard. So you've got all this. You really have to look at your funnels and your conversion goals, and how many assisted conversions you're getting and things like that. Because a lot of times people don't realize, they just look at the dead straight numbers of goals instead of getting into assisted conversions and discovering, oh my God, this is killer for us. I had no idea we were getting this much traffic from social, or a billboard, or a TV spot or something.
Yeah, 100% agree on what you said about video marketing, and YouTube being the second largest search engine. Because think about our experience. For example, in the pandemic, my wife want to learn how to bake. I want to learn how to take on little home project for myself at home. So I go to YouTube, right? I search for how to build a chicken coop, which is what I
Yeah,
was doing before. And then all this video come up. Some of them are actually company that sells material. They sell things that you can buy. So, but then they're teaching me how to do that. So, thinking that I know how to do it, then I attempt to do it. And who, where did you think I purchased the materials from with that
right,
company? So, if
right,
you're a company, think about not just, it's nice to do a presentation about, how glamorous your product might be, but think about your audience. What kind of questions would they have that you can answer, by doing those video, the how-to video, we'll call it, is very powerful. And then,
right.
in your point, if you kind of create a community, even to encourage argument or debate,
Mhm.
discussion, then you could actually know that these are actually the people who are interested in my product or services or whatever that might be. Then you could fine tune your marketing effort, knowing what people like to talk about.
Well, that goes into two other subjects too, So Google is, of course, the leader in search engines, and they have a couple of big updates coming.
Mm,
And they're making these updates all about the user experience, which they believe that the majority of users are using mobile. And uh, so we've got the mobile first update March, sometime in March. We don't know what day, and that is making sure that your website. So if you aren't, if you're in your search console and you are not set up for mobile first indexing, you will get buried. You will
mm.
disappear off the internet, according to Google. We'll see how this pans out. And in May, we've got the page experience update, and that is basically, in a nutshell, they're going to start ranking every single page of your website. So a lot, yeah, and we've been trying to prep most of our clients for this and get them ready for this, both of these updates. But it'll be very interesting to see what happens. But the bottom line here is what you said about the user experience, the customer journey. Google's really pushing to go to 0 clicks. So, what does all this mean for a small business? Well, the smartest business owners I know hire experts. They surround themselves with experts, and so to get a small business to be able to compete is very possible. And I think if this turns out, if both of these updates do what I think they're going to do, it will actually let small businesses compete better instead of, just hoping that they can compete.
How so? Can you give us a quick example?
Mhm. So, for example, that roofer I was mentioning in Chicago, well, they do residential and commercial roofing. We're
Mhm.
actually hoping to launch their residential site that we're building soon, here in a few weeks. Uh, but we did launch their commercial site, and it is so full of content, and so it's got such a nice user experience on it. So it's real easy to find whatever you're looking for. And he basically covered everything you could possibly cover in roofing. So, in other words, when a customer um, goes to his website, uh, you know, what are they going to find? Are they going to be able to find what they're looking for? So on commercial, that's probably going to be could be an HOA. An HOA could go residential or commercial.
Mhm.
But if it's a building owner, a building manager, property manager, apartment complex manager that is looking for somebody to maintain, or right now they're getting hit like crazy. I've never seen them this busy before, but they've been impacted by the storms. So, how easy was it for people to find snow removal or ice dams, dealing with ice dams and things like that? And, we're seeing that for both sites, but like on commercial, rooftop snow removal is huge. And so we make it, it's right there, super easy to find. And we make it, there's 100 ways you can get in touch with the company. Um, we do uh, all different kinds of tracking. We're getting ready to implement dynamic content, which will basically is AI for um, changing a website for that user for whatever
Wow.
they're
Okay.
looking for. So that should get them even closer to either uh, 1 click, 0 clicks, by just popping up right then and there by the schema markup that we're doing. They should just, everything that that customer needs should be right on Google under their listing. So they can either click to call or go ahead and visit the website or whatever. Um, and I think more and more people are going to start using dynamic content, uh, because it alters the content of the website for whatever that person's searching for. So instead of going to the homepage, it's going to immediately take you to snow removal for flat top roofs, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
So there's some exciting things.
Yeah. So, and I wanted to point out one thing, and make sure that we have enough time. It's I asked you a question: what opportunities do you see in your industry? And you actually list out a lot of good things. I'll name some of them, and we maybe pick a couple of them to do it. With the algorithm updates, you mentioned that people should consider voice, visual search marketing, video marketing, calendar marketing, product list ads, personalized marketing, Twitter marketing, Pinterest for visual and creative type businesses, creating and growing communities, live stream. That's really a lot of things to consider about.
Hmm.
So I think it will be industry specific, and what they would like to grow. And if I could pick, I would. Can I ask you about creating and growing a community? Because I try to um, suggest that concept, to some of the networking member that I know in the Chamber of Commerce. I suggest to them, you know, they complain that they couldn't find their target audience, but then I suggest this thinking to them: if you can create a community and have all your target audience to be in the community and to engage and educate them, would that be helpful for your business?
Yeah, yeah.
And how could that be done? In if you could suggest a few things for the listeners.
Sure. Well, if you just want to start a simple, Facebook is actually, I think we're all torn about Facebook right now, but depending on what you do, uh, Facebook and LinkedIn have pretty good ways to start groups, and I find that those are pretty effective. And what's nice is that you can go in and promote your group on Facebook or LinkedIn. Uh, you got to get the word out. Uh, and that's where your community comes in. So if you want to build a community, why would the people need to think, okay, well, why would I want to be a member of this group? What's it going to do? Am I going to get hammered with spam, or is it going to be a bunch of tit for tat, or am I actually going to learn something or meet some really great people? Because everything always goes back to the what's in it for me syndrome, right? So if someone is trying to create a community, you've got to have it laid out as, okay, what is our target audience? And based on that, you can definitely spend money to go get them, and you can actually do it pretty cheaply. It's amazing, some of these things that we've promoted and
Do you
gotten.
think that's like a longer term goal? So obviously, you don't want to sell them. If people think that you're selling things, then they'll
Mhm,
leave. But then, you know, de- depending on what the product or service or the interest might be, it
mhm,
could grow pretty fast, or it will take times to get people to join, because maybe the subject matters that it is kind of sensitive sometime, and
mhm.
so it really depends, right?
Right. I mean, everybody in your community, even if you only start with 5 people, the average Facebook user has 400 friends. Well, we all know that most of us have way more than that. The average person on LinkedIn has, what is it, 650 connections,
Hmm.
even if this is just averages. So when you're trying to create a community, what you can do is you can go in and do email campaigns. Those don't cost anything but your time. Get the word out that way. Make sure you're posting about it on social. Make sure that you're targeting certain people on social or certain companies. And again, that's where the paid comes in. But if you're just if you are marketing that community properly, um, people will hear about it. Now, I think podcasts or live streaming is a fantastic way to grow uh, a community. And I think, if you're trying to grow a community and you are doing podcasts, I seriously doubt you're going to have a whole lot of trouble growing that community. But if that's one of your primary reasons for appearing on a podcast, and like you said, not trying to sell anything, just
Mhm.
your community and exchanging, if it's something as simple as, well, we're just trying to meet more like-minded business owners or exchange information or get ideas on, how did you deal with this problem in HR? Or, is it going to be a CEO group, or is it just going to be, you know, um, people that work for certain companies or life insurance agents or whatever. I mean, you can create a pretty strong community, but you've got to have several people managing it to be successful.
Yeah, I think it's still, I won't say a new concept. It's been going on for a while, but I wanted to point out a quick example that I can think of. Imagine you're like a fitness and health professional and you
Mhm.
created a community where let's say you do a podcast or you do a live stream, directly go into the group. Let's say it's a Facebook group, right?
Mhm.
So what you can do is people will tune in to watch your presentation to give them good information, for example, maybe a workout routine. And then if you're smart, you could ask people to try it for the week and then come back and tell us how did it go for you. Maybe people like it, maybe people think it's too hard. So then you create the engagement. Then if you're smart, then you can see, oh, okay, these are the questions and problem that people are encountering. How do I solve it? Then like you said, with the funnel, then these people who have always outspoken or maybe have the most problem doing those, these are good clients for me. The other maybe they're just participating, but then they're engaging the community. So you
Mhm.
got to be able to identify which ones can be a good lead and which one might be just an influencer for your community.
Right, right. And I totally agree with that. And that's a great example. My daughter is a fitness nut, and she gets hit up all the time by different people on Instagram and Facebook to try her products or this or that. And um, so, one of the nice things that people can do is take somebody, and this is where people get kind of lost with influencer marketing. But most people think, Kardashian when it comes to influencers, right?
Mm.
So let's scale that down to reality. And if you have somebody that, say, has 1,000 followers on Instagram and is very active on Instagram and is into weightlifting or bodybuilding or aerobics or whatever your thing is, right? Or just fitness overall, and you're trying to grow a fitness community, or you're trying to get people to try a certain type of diet or workout or challenge or whatever, um, that is a great way to do micro influencer campaigns. Is you actually target those people and say, hey, we would love it if you join our group and help us um, try this out and let us know how it works for you and if it works great. Or there's so many different ways you could go with that.
Yeah, you
So,
can interview people kind of like what I'm doing right now. I bring you on as an expert and people can learn other skills maybe goes around what you do, because we both in marketing, I do physical product and you help people digitally. So, but
yeah,
then in the whole marketing world, we could be connected with the same campaign. Before we end, I do want to ask you one more because this
sure.
one I'm not too familiar with. Calendar marketing. What is that? Can you tell me a little bit more about what it is?
Yeah, sure, sure. So, one thing that we've done lately and that we're having unbelievable success with is live human chat with a booking feature, as well as allowing people to book right on right on your website
Mhm.
or your Facebook or this or that. But the problem that we've had with a lot of these calendars at Facebook and Google My Business and all of this do is a lot of them charge money, you know, And B, is it integrating properly with your calendar?
Hmm.
Is it the right kind of funnel? Are you able to create funnels to qualify that person? So typically, this will work for a great majority of businesses, even brick and mortar type places, depending on what it is they're trying to promote, but not everybody. But anybody that's looking for a lead, a new client, a new customer, and they need to meet with that person beforehand or just have a quick call with them, whether it's a 5-minute call or, there's a million different ways you could integrate this. But what we found is by having that calendar, so we've got a counseling center that we work with, we've got the roofers, we've got so many different types of businesses, but adding that live chat feature with a human behind it, and they've got an AI script, so whenever the person asks on chat, that answer, all the answers pop up for that person. Then if they don't want to engage in chat, and there are people that don't want to chat, that's okay. Then, if you're using dynamic content, it's going to pop that calendar up at the right time for them to book appointment. If you're not using dynamic content, then, just a regular, good old responsive static website, that's fine too. Then you can integrate that calendar on your website and try and get people to book things. So for a roofer, that's booking an estimate. Um, and for the counselor that's booking, this particular counselor, he just wants to book quick consults and make sure that this person is a good fit for them and they're a good fit for the person, and so there's just so many different things that you could do. We got a window and door guy that's they people want to estimate. Well, typically for windows and doors, you got to go in the house. So, they're and what we have seen with calendar integration and live booking on a site is typically 30 to 50% increase in revenue.
Hmm.
And then what we find is, like with the live chat feature, we find with that as well as the calendar, it's almost even. Their close rate is huge. I mean, the guy in Chicago, he's probably closing 9 out of 10 deals that come
Wow,
through.
that's good. Now you're saying it, I'm actually kind of, doing that myself. For example, I'm located in Los Angeles. I think, it's actually we're at the right time to do calendar marketing because with the dawn of Zoom meeting, online meetings, now we
Mhm.
all have, a webcam set up. We are comfortable with meeting people first time, on video. Before
Yeah,
maybe even like 2 years ago, it's kind of scary. Like what am I doing? So
yeah,
my personal experience was, I recently have two clients. One is in Argentina, one is in Australia. So in normal times, I'll have to do long distance call, and then it's kind of you have the barrier. He's all the way here in Los Angeles. I'm all the way here in Australia. But then I use my calendar. I share with them. Let's hop on a Zoom meeting. I'll show you what am proposing to you, and then you kind of meet me in person. So we did that. I address all the questions that they have, and I show them some of the items that they're looking for, and then they kind of see how I interact. So it's I think I kind of build on the additional trust. Imagine
yeah.
someone whom you just speak on the phone, then with someone that you actually seen them interact, my facial expression verbally, non-verbally. So I was able to close that deal all the way to Australia. So think about any small business that you're thinking about. My product is a niche, or maybe what I'm doing is weird. There are a lot of people who are seeking out for weird, unique product. So by make yourself available at a certain time to be consult or see you or one of your representative in person, I think,
Mhm.
like you said, you could actually be surprised how you can grow your business, especially, you could ship or service people outside of your physical location.
Yeah, and it also keeps the end user from continuing to search if they book that appointment.
Yeah,
So,
that's kind of like a commitment. They see you
mhm.
face to face, and it's better than people who just calling them, emailing them.
Yeah, because then they've checked it off their list and they're good to go. Okay, I can get on with my day. I've got this estimator coming, or I've got this party planner coming, or whatever it is that you're, trying to sell. So, yeah.
Well, Tammy, you gave us a lot of good information, so I don't think we have touched on even a third of what you have put on there. If listener wants to reach out to you and find out more about what you do, what would be the best way?
Yeah, so just go to our website, resultsonlinemarketing.com, and we are offering a special online audit. So we will look at your entire online presence and tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, and we'll even tell you how you can fix some stuff yourself. But we need a little, we just need a few hours to pull the information, and they can go and just fill that form out and scroll down a little bit further and book an appointment.
Nice. I like how you tied into that. I popped it up on the screen, and I'm also going to put the contact information on the show notes. And Tammy, thank you so much. And it get me pumped and we want to create certain things. And certainly we'll go through all your notes to encourage people to reach out, because there are a lot of uh, new technology coming out. And then, like Tammy said, if you surround yourself with expert that actually do better than what you do in that particular subject, that's how you're able to grow your business 5x, or in 10 years, hopefully we can all grow to $100 million company.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, it's been a pleasure, Swag. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Tammy.
All right. Have a good day.